He said he was going.
He said he was going to. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll wait. All right, guys. So we are live right now. This is the behind the scenes of my show today with Pastor Jay on WNZF News Radio. We air on Sunday mornings at 8:30 a.m. on 94.9 FM. 1550 AM, and this is my behind the scenes taping. I have Sabash Katil. I don't know why I want to hack up your name. And
I'm
I was
used
doing
to
the
this.
same thing with JP. JP, I don't know. I won't call him like Chavez instead of Chavis.
Chavez.
Well, I hacked that too. Chavez. Let me write it. Like cha. Chavez. Yeah, so hopefully he'll come on and he'll click the button in a minute. So when he does, then we will go. What is the chat overlay for? So this is this new little program I've been messing with for a while. That way people can see me on social media. I'm actually streaming live on YouTube, Periscope, which automatically goes to Twitter, Facebook, and some other platform. I better be. I need to check. Sometimes it tries to boot me out. Oh no, I'm doing it. Okay, good deal. Okay, there it is. So I guess we could go ahead on and start the show. Or are you texting
I did
Juan
text
Pablo?
him.
Chavez.
I did text him.
Okay, so we'll see.
I'm not sure if he's having problems on his link.
Okay, it's possible. So we will begin when he come on. I'll have some write some questions in here. Yep. So we'll do that because we could start and I can bring him in, but then he won't know that we're live.
Oh, right.
So I will give him another minute or two. It's been 2 minutes.
Let me try to call him.
Okay,
Let me
you
do
go
that.
ahead. All right. So he's gonna call him, and then we will see. So we can talk to Mark. Mark, you need to get a camera over there. That would be so cool. Why not? For real. Mark, I'm not joking. I'm talking to Mark over here. Oh, he's there. Hey. Okay, so we got him now. How you doing, Juan Pablo?
I'm doing great. I'm doing fantastic. Thank you.
Now, if you hear an echo, it's just on your end. We don't hear it, okay?
Pastor Jay, I hear it on my end. Just so you know.
You hear it on your end? Juan Pablo, do you hear it?
Yes, I do.
I'm so sorry. I don't know why it does that, but we don't hear it. So that's what's good. All right. So I'll be toggling back and forth. You ready to go in? We're going to be talking about just crime survivors within the black and brown community. That's okay. Because they always look like they're the ones that's perpetrating crime. They look like the crime perpetrators all the time, that they're never victims. And just see what we can do to kind of clear up some of that and then go through. So we'll talk about what you do first. Juan Pablo Chavez. I don't know why I want to mess up your last name. You're the director. No, you're not. What's your official title, JP? I
I
should
am.
know this. I should know this. Don't quiz me, Sabash.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay. I am the statewide partnership manager in
District-wide
Florida.
manager,
Yeah, statewide manager
statewide manager. Okay. For
for crime
CSSJ
survivors.
or for.
Crime survivors for safety.
Okay. All right. I'm never going to forget that because I'm writing it down now. Okay. All right. So we're going to go ahead on and go in and start recording. And okay, I'm ready.
You are now tuned in to Today with Pastor Jay on WNZF News Radio, where we discuss inspiring and informative news. And now here's your host, Pastor Jerlyn Denny.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Wake up and good morning. It is a great day, a wonderful day to be alive, and I'm excited. Summer is here, and for me, I'm going to the beach as often as I can to work on my tan. Not working on my tan, just enjoying life, being able to be out there at the Atlantic Ocean and see the water, be involved with, making the sandcastle here and there. My husband and I actually have been going every chance we get. A couple of things we do is we take games with us to the beach. And of course, I am crushing him in every game we play. So don't tell him, but it's true. It is true. I'm not competitive or anything like that. I just win naturally. I guess I'm good at everything I do. Listen at me talking about I can do all these things. Well, I suppose I can do all things, all kinds of things through Christ who strengthens me. But I have wonderful guests on my show. I have Sabash Katil. He's the Florida State Director for Alliance for Safety and Justice. And I have Juan Pablo Chavez, who is the statewide manager for crime survivors and safety and justice. So thank you guys so much for joining me today. How are you?
Great. Thank you.
Yeah, so this is good. I just saw you not that long ago, my term, yesterday, in fact. You came and you spoke at one of my groups here in Flagler County, which was the Flagler County GOP, the Flagler County Grand Order of Pachyderms, came and spoke at our group talking about your organization. You've been a guest on my show before. So, Sabash, why don't you start and just tell us a little bit about what you do and how you do it here in the state of Florida?
No, definitely. Thanks for having me. I'm always glad to be here. So basically, Crime Survivors for Safety and Justice and Alliance for Safety and Justice is a network, amongst other things, represents almost 5,000 crime survivors across the state of Florida, and over 40,000 across the country more generally. What we do is we seek new safety solutions that both protect the needs of crime survivors to heal and put their lives back together, while also making sure that we're not over investing in just locking folks up as a solution to the problem, right? And so we imagine a world where there are more services directed towards crime prevention, directed to servicing crime survivors, and less over on just locking folks up and locking ourselves away out of the.
Okay. Well, Juan Pablo, and you are the statewide manager for crime survivors and safety and justice. So let's talk about what you do.
Yes, sure. Absolutely. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Pause for a second. We're going to have to. I'm hearing an echo now. I don't know why. We got feedback. Whatever you did, undo it.
Okay, can you hear me now better?
Yeah. Say that again, Juan Pablo.
Okay, can you hear me now better?
Yes, that's better. Okay, all right.
Okay.
So we're gonna go ahead. All right, so go ahead and tell me about what you do.
Okay, well, there is so many survivors with no help at all.
Mm-hmm.
There is a lot of communities with all types of things. So we are creating hope. We are creating a chapter in different parts of the state. So we are bringing chapters together so they can elevate their voices, so they can come together and support each other.
Okay. Well, that sounds pretty cool. Of course, I'm involved with your organization, but I want to focus a little bit on crime survivors in this way, Sabash, within the Black and brown communities. Because when you look at television, you listen to the news, you see the newspaper, it seems as though that Black and browns are the perpetrators of the crime. We're the ones that's always committing the crime all the time. If it's a shootout, it would appear that Black person did it. If there's this, a rape or murder, whatever it is, it seems as though the Black community are huge perpetrators of crime. So I want to ask you, we have about 5,000 crime survivors that's a member of the CSSJ here in Florida. Out of those 5,000, I mean, you don't have to give me statistics, but are there is it disproportionate when it comes to black and brown and white survivors, or what do you tell me what you see?
That's an excellent question. And I want to say a couple different things. First, survivors of crime are across the spectrum: racial, ethnic, linguistic, income levels, and there's a lot of needs that we can bond on, that we can come together on, and that we can envision a better future on. Right? And I think I want to lay that out first. Second thing I will say is a disproportionate amount of crime survivors come from black and brown communities. A disproportionate amount of crime survivors come from black, brown communities that would be low income. More importantly, when we talk about who's service and help, a lot of black communities often record having the least amount of help out of the systems that are there that are supposed to protect crime survivors and serve crime victims.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's an important distinction, and this is where language matters a lot.
I mean, that's just crazy, though. So we're looking at crime survivors across our state, and maybe even possibly nationally, that there's a huge influx of black and brown crime survivors. Is it that we just report more, or I mean, because there's a huge statistic of crime unreported. We know that.
Yeah,
regardless of your race, your skin color, ethnic background, economic status, a lot of people don't report crime. But this is a wonderful organization, Crime Survivors for Safety and Justice, Alliance for Safety and Justice, wonderful organization. But a lot of them make up the members are brown and black.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. And we have members from across the racial and political spectrum, but that's true. And more important, when we go into communities that are heavily impacted by crime and violence, as I did yesterday when we spoke in Flagler County, I just asked a couple of questions. I'm like, in your community, in your neighborhood, and we're talking about Jacksonville, Miami-Dade, Broward, Orlando, where I live currently. We ask a couple different questions, right? We're like, how easy is it to become a victim of crime in your community? And the communities we're talking to in these spaces where we're having conversations with survivors disproportionately in communities that we identify as black, minority, underrepresented, and so on and so forth, right? I start off with a couple of questions. Is it very easy to be a victim of crime in your community? Almost everyone in the community says yes. Is it easy to get services if you're the victim of a crime in your community? People start laughing and say no. Right. Is it easy for someone in your community to be arrested for something relatively harmless and stupid? They say yes. Is it easy to solve a murder in your community? And overwhelmingly you say no. And I think here's the crux of the problem. Right? And almost every community we go to, I ask those questions because I want to be proven wrong with my own personal hypothesis, right? But in all of the communities, what you hear is the same answer over again. And what that means is our overall system of public safety is not functioning the way a public safety system should if it's functioning well. But even the language about how we talk about crime and violence matters. I want to give you an example. One of the neighborhoods in Orlando where you tend to see a significant amount of violence and homicide in the news is called Pine Hill. And the colloquial expression for Pine Hills is called Crime Hills, right? Because apparently there's a lot of colonization there. And we all know, like, in communities where there's a lot of crime, individuals that don't want to express shame about the community will kind of play on the crime rate to show how tough the community is or whatever. But so in Orlando, that neighborhood in the community, Pine Hills, people will call it crime. And what that means, and the way we talk about crime and violence is general perception is everyone in that community is a criminal. But if there's a lot of homicides and victimization happening in that community, what that also means is that there's a lot in the community that survivors and victims.
Right.
And so let me take a step back. If I believe your community, if the joke to me is that your community is called Crime Hills, rather than a survivor hill, but still. Then the solution to me, if everyone is a criminal, is different than if the solution to me is based upon the understanding that everyone's a survivor or a victim that is in need of support. Does that make sense? And I think
makes perfect sense. But we've got to take a break. We're going to talk more about that and that story. Don't go anywhere. Don't touch that dial. You are listening to Today with Pastor Jay. Okay. So, Sabash, I have absolutely no idea why, but everything was clear. And then, is it me?
Mark, I'm hearing an echo when I talk.
I know you're hearing an echo, but it's not coming in as clear.
So do I.
You heard it too? Okay.
I hear the echo, yeah.
Okay. All right. Minus the echo. Do you guys have headphones or anything?
Do you need me to put on headphones?
Let's see if that's going to make a difference. Like
what I did, I went to settings and I click. Hold on.
Because I've done this with other people and it sounded clear. It seemed like
okay. Can you hear me now?
A little bit. That makes sense, Mark. Yeah.
What I did, Pastor Geraldine, I click noise suspension and echo cancellation, but it got worse.
Oh, okay. Let's see if the headphones for Sabash works a little bit better.
Do you hear me better now?
No, I can hear you with a lot of echo too.
Okay, say something.
Testing, 1, 2, 3.
Oh, that's a whole lot easier. I mean, not easier, but I hear you clear. You still may have the echo, but at least I hear you clear.
Do you hear me better now?
No, I can hear you with a lot of echo.
Now I'm hearing our playback from a couple seconds ago.
Huh.
Okay, no, it's gone.
It's gone now?
Yeah. I mean, my personal feedback is still there, but if you all aren't hearing it, then I'm okay with that.
I'm sorry about that. I don't know why that's like that.
I just want to make sure that your final product doesn't sound like that, or that the live stream doesn't show up like that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Mark knows the reason why it's doing it. You're hearing your voice coming from two different sources because he's like going through the board as well.
Got it. I'm okay as long as everyone else hears.
But you're not live stream now.
Okay, yeah. My only concern was I couldn't hear your voice that well, Sabash, when you were talking. But now I hear your voice a whole lot better and a whole lot clearer. Because before I was like straining to try to understand what your words were.
Okay.
Yeah, so the headphones work a whole lot better. And Juan Pablo, you don't have headphones or anything like that, right? Bluetooth?
No, I don't.
Before I was like, okay, now I have a echo on your side, Juan Pablo. All right, now I don't. How did that happen? That was crazy. Huh. All right. So we're gonna come back in talking about Pine Hills.
Do you want me to repeat that story?
Yeah, probably not the whole story, but a little bit about the survivors in this area, because a lot of crime is going on, but people just talking about the crime. They're not even focusing on the survivors and how that has affected those that live in that area.
I could tell the revised version quicker that is the same thing, but not.
Yeah. Well, I'll just ask you a question. Okay. Juan Pablo went and got some headphones. Is that better? JP?
I can hear you better. Can you hear me?
Oh, a whole lot better.
But I can still hear listening the echo.
But apparently it's going to keep happening because there's two different streams.
Right, yeah. Okay, all right. Yeah. We'll go back in. Welcome back. You're listening to Today with Pastor Jay. I have Sabash Katil and Juan Pablo Chavez on the line, Alliance for Safety and Justice and Crime Survivors for Safety and Justice. And we were just talking about Pine Hills. As Sabash was telling us this story that there's an area where he lives that's known mostly for crime. We were talking about that before the break. Sabash, that's crazy.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think it's just a similar play when you see a neighborhood where there's a lot of victimization. The general sense is, oh, that's a rough neighborhood. Let's avoid that.
Mm-hmm.
Right. and then so the perception is that neighborhood is flooded with criminals, right? Which and I have a lot of opinions about that as a person that's lived in several neighborhoods like that before, and whether that's true or not. But let's leave that aside. But the general perception is, if you're in a neighborhood where there's a lot of victimization, and your sense is, oh, this is a rough neighborhood where there's a lot of criminals, what's your solution to that? Versus what's your solution to understand there's a lot of survivors and victims that need healing, right? Your survivor, yeah, I mean, your solution towards who you think is a criminal versus who you think is a survivor are going to be completely different, right? And I think that plays out in the way we do our policy, the way we incarcerate people, the way murders get solved and they don't, the way witnesses and victims are treated in different neighborhoods. And so I think there's one call here, which is for us to understand that the language is important. The policy that flows out of our understanding is important. But also, we really need to pay attention to survivors of color as survivors, with the understanding that way too often they're perceived by the systems that are supposed to be helping survivors as perpetrators.
Juan Pablo, I know you work with crime survivors, and as we just realized, not just realized, but as we spoke about Black and Brown, survivors of crime, maybe there's resources they're not able to get. They're not treated fairly. How does that happen in our today's society? Because you have someone that say, hey, I've witnessed a murder, or I'm a victim of rape, or one of those type things. Resources and things are out there, but it's also disproportionate in terms of the services that they're receiving. How do you combat that? JP?
Yes. Well, the first thing that we do is to refer them to victim services. But also we have chapters all over the state. And we talk about chapter meetings, healing. Because healing is something that every human being needs. And we need healing not just once, we need healing every time that we are hurt. And so what we're trying to do is to invite chapter members to get together, to elevate their voices, and to support each other and create the healing path. And healing in a CSA chapter is much, much easier than healing by yourself. Healing alone could be painful. You need a community to heal. You need a chapter to heal. We have heard families, mothers, that they haven't had the opportunity to share about their experience.
Sabash, this is crazy. I mean, to me, I'm thinking about survivors, not the criminals or the perpetrators, but the survivors of crime. And as I mentioned, I love the work that JP is doing. But what do we do for those that are not getting those services? I know crime survivors have them, but you send someone to the advocate in their city, and then they're denied services because of the color of their skin. Or maybe they're not getting the services as fast enough. This is a reality, and this is a reality people don't like to hear about. Oh, there they go again, talking about Black and brown people are treated unfairly, but these are statistically evident, right? I don't know why I can't hear you.
It's because I was on mute. I still haven't learned after a year Zoom culture how to unmute my phone.
All right, so he's got that. You can just answer the question now.
So I think it's even crazier to me that we have members in our own network that have lost their children to violence. And a month later, they're at work, and it's clear that they're not back to normal. And people act like, oh, you're still thinking about that, right? Oh, you haven't moved on. And I think there's this lack of awareness that crime survivors across the board need support and need help, need healing. But on top of that, there's not some special situation where crime survivors of color just heal faster or get over it faster, right? And so we need to have that acknowledgement first. And then we need to have our policies flow with that understanding, right? And that can be making sure that survivors of crime are not disproportionately affected by being denied victims' compensation, that victims advocates who are often great, but sometimes, need more help developing their skills, are better connected to communities of color. So, for example, victims' compensation is an important one. A lot of our members found out about victims' compensation when they lost a loved one from a funeral home director,
Mhm.
right? And not from some formal channel. That's a problem, right? And so I think understanding if there's investment across the board from the system and educating crime survivors and victims of all persuasions, but specifically where victimization is actually happening, about the services that are available and making sure those services are accessible is super important. It's incredibly important.
Yeah, reason why I like to have these conversations is because myself being a Black woman, I've heard several rape victims who are Black say things like, the cop told me, I shouldn't be promiscuous, that it was my fault or their fault or something along those lines. Advocates not really thinking, or, Black women are strong, so they may not need the services. This is a reality that am I right?
Very much so.
This
Very
is,
much so.
a reality that we're dealing with. Say, oh, so, Black women are strong. Get over yourself. It's not that bad. Whereas a white woman that was raped versus a Black woman that was raped, different services. Same thing with kidnapping. You see children that have been kidnapped. White kid get kidnapped all over the place, news, radio, and everything. Someone got kidnapped. I was thinking, I guess Black babies just don't get kidnapped. Black kids don't get kidnapped. Because this is what I'm thinking to myself. Are they not kidnapped? Are they not murdered? Are they not victims of different crimes? Because we see something completely different in that. How? I say we fix it by having the conversations, number one. And to make sure color has nothing to do with services when it comes to victim services, right?
Right. And understanding that dynamic that you described is very real. Like there's a double-edged sword by this concept of resilience, right? Like, yes, people that suffer can be resilient, but no human being is so resilient that they can just get over the loss of a child, the loss of a spouse, or a serious victimization experience any more than another person. If anything, people that are in communities that have been affected by victimization and affected by crime are affected by multiple levels over and over and over again, and need more help and need more resources. So are more resources coming in? Are more resources available? Are more resources accessible? I will tell you that, for example, in the average city, if you are the victim of crime of color and you've been the victim of a homicide, even if you had insurance, even if you had resources, getting the help that you need would be a struggle. Now, you take your resources away, or you take your insurance away, you take your access away, and it becomes that much harder, right? And that's just a real situation we need to acknowledge so we can fix it.
All right. Well, we got to take a break. Don't go anywhere. Keep listening. Keep listening. Okay, so when we come back from the break, Sabash, I want you to tell that story about Jeffrey Dahmer.
Let me pull it up real quick.
Okay.
So I don't get it wrong.
Yeah. So how much time we have, Mark? We have 3 minutes. So I've got to thank my sponsors. So real quickly, Sabash, when we come back from break, I'll thank my sponsors, and then you can just chime in with, I've got this story that I want to share that I think is pertinent to the conversation, something like that. Did you get that?
Got it.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I'm just refamiliarizing myself with the details. So
No problem. You go ahead. You're only going to have 2 minutes to tell it. So I'm going to need a summarization. Do, 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 do. Thank you guys for watching. Oh, that was my daughter calling me, telling me I needed to just remind me that she has to be at band practice today. So I'm expecting a grandbaby any day now.
Oh wow.
Uh-huh. Yep. Any day. Super excited about that.
Wow.
Yep. It's a little girl. So I have one granddaughter and 3 grandsons. So this would be grandbaby number 5. And my grand diva, what I call her, all she concerned about is if I'm gonna love her most over the other granddaughter, right?
Wow.
I'm like, oh my goodness. So she's all concerned about that. You ready, Sabash?
Yep.
Oh, you are? Okay. I've been waiting on you the whole time.
Oh
Let me
yeah.
make
Sorry.
sure. Oh, that's okay. I want to make sure I have my people trade coaches Florida. Okay, I'm ready. Welcome back. Want to give a shout out and a thank you to 500bankruptcy.com, tradecoaches.org, and the FloridaMortgageCenter.com. Thank you for sponsoring Today with Pastor J. So this is super cool. We only got a few minutes left. Sabash, you got anything you want to add before we go?
Well, just a couple of things. I'm hoping that this conversation provokes a new discussion, right? I encourage everyone to see how far we've gotten or how far we haven't gotten. But just Googling a story of a guy by the name, a young boy actually by the name of Konorak. I'll spell it Konerak. Synthomasphone. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. But
And what's the story about?
If you Google his name quickly, this was a 14-year-old who was murdered by Jeffrey Dahmer in the 1990s, 1991. 30 minutes after the police returned him when he fled from his apartment.
Wait a minute. Hold on. He fled from his apartment
Mm-hmm.
after being
clearly showing signs of victimization.
okay.
And he was then returned by the authorities back to Jeffrey Dahmer.
Wait, hold on. He found the authorities, and what they do with him?
They then returned him back to Jeffrey Dahmer.
Back to Jeffrey Dahmer?
Yeah.
Why?
And I encourage folks to uncover the story. A couple things. This happened in Wisconsin. Didn't happen in Florida, right? And it happened in the 1990s, right? But it's an extreme example of survivors from communities of color not being believed for the survivorhood and the impact of it. And in that extreme example,
he went to found an officer, tried to explain that he was a victim. The officer did not believe him and took him back to Jeffrey Dahmer. Wow.
And this is the 1990s. And maybe as a society we've evolved, we've gotten better. And it's a very extreme example, right? But I think it's also important for us to take those examples and really evaluate, have we really gotten far in this process? And how do we make sure things like that never happen again? And are things like that still happening? Right. And I think it goes back to this whole thing of understanding, believing survivors, believing communities that have been survived and victimized by crime, and really making our services better equipped and better capable of addressing the needs of survivors.
And Juan Pablo, I want to thank you for that and all the things that you are doing to make sure that there are services that are available, that people, no matter what the color of their skin is, have access to these services.
You're welcome.
Yeah. So thank you guys for being on the show. God bless you. And you know what I say, guys? Yesterday is gone. Tomorrow's not promised. What are you going to do today? Today, you are going to make sure you treat people fairly, regardless of the color of their skin. And you know what? Those that are survivors of crime, give them a pat on their back. It's a challenging thing to do. Support them and love them no matter what. God bless you and have a great day. Thank you guys. I appreciate you. I know that was a little difficult to go through, but thank you so very much. Okay. All right. You guys have a great day. Thank you. God bless you. Bye-bye.